Aleppo has become the apex of horror. At its most horrific extent of the suffering of people.
We're going to look back on this and we're going to be ashamed of what we let happen in Aleppo.
The year is 2011. This is Aleppo, Syria's commercial capital. Home to over 2 million people. A heady mix of Shia, Sunni and Kurd. The Arab Spring is spreading across North Africa and the Middle East. And the first stirrings of uprising are being felt here.
It being a huge hub of anti-Assad support, it is the key city that you have to take if you want to sort of bleed away that support, metaphorically and physically. Not only is it commercially very, very critical to the lifeblood of the entire Syrian economy, but it is the hub of the north. It is the main city in the north, and from there, if you control Aleppo, you are able to quickly, in terms of a military conflict, move on to other smaller towns and cities.
Aleppo's strategic importance means both sides in the conflict, President Bashar al-Assad and the rebels who oppose him, will not stop fighting for it or killing for it. But despite 4 continuous years of bombardment, President Assad has failed to win the decisive victory he craves and needs. But now a major intervention is changing everything. And even by Syria's bloody standards, we have not witnessed the devastation that is now being unleashed on Aleppo and her desperate people. Russian warplanes, flying beyond the reach of rebel missiles, are helping the Syrian Arab army to pound Aleppo into obliteration. This is Aleppo's apocalyptic nightmare now. These families fleeing the fighting have been caught in an artillery strike. Lifeless bodies litter the street. The carnage is witnessed by traumatized children. At least 20 people are thought to have been killed or injured in this one attack alone.
فرقدنا لهون جينا نشوفه ولا لقيت امي هون ميته هون واختي وفي وحده عايشه واختي ما منع عنا شيء لسه بالمستشفى هون طبت ايدي يعني قلبي بس
يعني انا والله اجر لقدام 10 لورا والله ما لي رضا بالطلعه بس هيك ما بطلع شيء بالايد والله العظيم عندي مره ما في منها كل حلب ما في منها راحت ايش بساوي حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل بس عندي بنت عمرها 11 سنه هلا استشهدت والصغيره بعدها على المستشفى ما بعرف ايش وضعها بدك 3 صغار كمان هن حيطهم بالماء
حتى نزلها. For the sick and wounded, help is running out. Nearly all the doctors and surgeons who have braved Aleppo's long war have gone or are dead.
Well, there are no hospitals, but there are about 7 doctors left now, and I'm in contact with all of them every day.
Dr. David Knott is a war surgeon. He's one of the world's bravest. For decades, he's given up his time and personal safety to save lives in the world's most dangerous conflicts, including Syria.
A few minutes ago, gunshot view to somebody shot in the nose.
Even when he's not in Aleppo, he leads a team of surgeons through their operations via Skype. But that's had to stop.
I was doing a Skype operation with my colleagues in M10 in Aleppo, which is one of the underground hospitals where I worked in myself. We tried to, and very successfully, repaired a man's jaw. But then 2 days later, the hospital was attacked. And it may have been a coincidence, but it wasn't a coincidence that 2 days after that, the hospital was attacked. 3 days after that, it was attacked again. And on the 4th attack, the hospital was completely destroyed with a bunker-busting bomb. And that is not a coincidence. Sometimes I often think to myself whether the coordinates of the Skype conversation that we were having in London probably were picked up, because it was an absolute direct target on exactly the same coordinate of the operating theatre.
The targeting of hospitals is a deliberate strategy. Nowhere is safe from Russian or Syrian army bombs.
Russia acts in a way which is pretty indiscriminate, and so they are able to achieve strategic objectives that Western forces probably couldn't do because of our much stricter rules of engagement. So the type of warfare that Russia uses also enables Assad to make much quicker gains than perhaps if he was backed, for example, by a Western actor.
This push by regime-loyal forces has forced thousands to risk their lives and flee. Caught in the crossfire and left without an option. Stay and surely die, or brave the bombs and bullets and stagger to safety. According to Syrian state television, these people have praised President Assad's soldiers and their Russian allies for saving them from certain death. There are some who are desperate to escape, but they don't trust the regime.
أول شيء منعنا خوف من الضرب على المدنية، لا يضربون على المدنية أو يصير بين الاشتباكات. بس بعدها ناس قالت لنا نطلع مشان نخلص من هالمجاعة.
The Fatala family did escape. We met them as they arrived, frightened and exhausted in Mireya, in the outer suburbs of the city. They told us the famine and daily bombardments had become too much.
وواحد منهم اتشظى شعر واثنين تقطعوا اجريهم، هدول اللي انوجدوا قدامي بفرد محل. نطلع سيارة اسعاف ما في حدا يشيلهم. شلناهم بعربانة دفش تبعيت بياعين خضرة، منهم دفناهم ومنهم اخذوهم على المشافي. كليتنا ورفة، مين ما يستجري ينام ولد لحاله. كلنا فرد غرفة وجنب بعضنا، وقت اللي تيجي الدجة أو الطيران البنائي اللي فيها نحن ترج كلها، أو ينزل الواجهة أو تضرب الضوء قذيفة في وجهك ما تعود تتصل قدامك منها. يا خوف من السقف يا خوف من القذيفة تنزل فوقك.
To be part of the international community that has watched this complete failure of Syria's children. We've watched children die in Aleppo every single day. We've watched as the siege has tightened and no food has got into them. Convoys of aid have been bombed. Convoys have been turned back. It does feel like we're going to look back on this and we're going to be ashamed of what we let happen in Aleppo.
Aleppo's people fear the West will continue to stand by and watch as a city is slaughtered. The killing here is being hastened by events a world away.
The issue, of course, now is that because of Aleppo's strategic and symbolic importance, and, of course, the fact that there is a new president coming in January, I think the Russians have made a calculation that if they retake the city before President-elect Trump comes into office, then they can present this as a fait accompli and say to the United States, hey, look, this is the strategic situation on the ground. Like it or hate it, accept it. Assad's staying, he's got control of the major urban centres, and therefore let's think about doing a deal with the regime rather than consistently opposing them.
The world has abandoned Aleppo, but Dr. Knott can't rest until his small team of medics can find safe passage from the hell they're trapped in. He continues to put daily pressure on the Russians, the Syrian regime, and the United Nations to find them and others a safe route out of Aleppo. It's likely no other conflict has been recorded so intensely. And perhaps it's this that has led to the inertia. Unimaginable horror has become imaginable. But now, as we watch aghast at the last throes of this dying city, we must remember the fall of Aleppo comes with the heaviest of costs.
Somebody of some powerful leadership quality really needs to get in and sort the problem out. If that doesn't happen, then I'm sure that the majority of the people in Aleppo will be killed, and that will be the biggest bloodstain on all of us forever. And I don't know how we're going to look back on this in a year or two's time and say that we did nothing to help the people in East Aleppo. It is absolutely a crime worse than I can ever imagine.